Hello there, Ruby here. I am ever so thankful you joined me today for Ruby's Storytime. This is the story of Little Red Riding Hood, and it gets scary at times. So if I were you, I would get your favorite blanket to snuggle up with, and maybe even one of your stuffed animals to comfort you. There are some moments that can get, well, a little frightening, but don't you worry. It's just a story, and let me assure you, you will be just fine. Are you ready, my friend? Let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a darling little girl named Sarah. She lived with her mother in a cabin near the woods. Her mother enjoyed sewing for Sarah. She made a beautiful red cape for her, and let me tell you something. Little Sarah loved that red cape. She ate with the red cape on. She picked vegetables from the garden with the red cape on. She played in her treehouse with the red cape on. And she even slept in the red cape. She never wanted to part with her red cape, and her mother finally said, "Sarah, I think we should call you Little Red Riding Hood from now on." And from that day on, Sarah had a new name. Little Red Riding Hood was in her treehouse playing tea party with her stuffed animals and dolls, and heard her mom call to her. "Little Red Riding Hood, please come down. We need to have a talk." Little Red Riding Hood could hear in her mother's voice something was bothering her.
"What's the matter, Mother?"
Little Red Riding Hood asked. "I need you to walk through the woods, over to your grandmother's house. She's not feeling well. I have made some fresh chocolate chip cookies, and I think that little treat will cheer her up." This made Little Red Riding Hood smile, as she always looked forward to seeing her grandmother, the sweetest little lady that lived in a small cottage in the woods, and they loved each other dearly. Do you have a grandmother? Let's get back to the story. So, the mother made sure to give Little Red Riding Hood the basket of goodies and reminded her, "Please, stay focused. And remember, stay on the path, go right to grandmother's house, and never talk to strangers." So off Little Red Riding Hood went. She wasn't afraid, as she had made the trip to grandmother's house many times. She walked and walked through the woods. Little did she know, she was being followed by a very scary wolf. Every step Little Red Riding Hood would take, the wolf would take 2 steps closer to her.
"Good morning, little girl," said the big bad wolf. "You look so pretty in your red little hood."
"Oh, thank you, Mr. Wolf. My mother made it for me."
Oh no. Do you remember what her mother told her before taking the journey to Grandma's house? She said never to talk to strangers, didn't she?
"Goodbye, Mr. Wolf. I'm going to my grandma's house. She's not feeling very well, and my mom made her some chocolate chip cookies, and I'm going to go cheer her up. Toodles!"
And off the little girl went, walking down the path. The wolf had his eye on her the entire time, and you know what? That big bad wolf said to himself,
"That little girl looks like she would make a scrumptious meal for me. Why, if I had her for lunch, I wouldn't need to eat anything for quite some time."
But the wolf didn't stop there. He stopped her again as she continued to walk.
"Oh, Little Red Riding Hood, I noticed that if you get off the path just a bit, you will find some beautiful wildflowers. And wouldn't your grandma just love to have some pretty flowers?"
"Oh, yes, Mr. Wolf,"
said the little girl.
"Flowers would really cheer my grandma up."
And the big bad wolf gently shoved her off the path. While she was busy picking the flowers for her grandma, the wolf, as sneaky as he was, said to himself,
"I will run over to Grandma's house and eat her up first. And then I will hide in the house and wait for Little Red Riding Hood to come in, and I will eat her up too.
What a very hungry, bad, wicked wolf! He finally arrived at Grandmother's house and he knocked on the door.
Who's there?
Called the grandmother from her bed.
It's me, Little Red Riding Hood,
said the wolf in a tiny voice.
I have brought you some chocolate chip cookies to cheer you up.
Oh, my dear child, the door is unlocked. Just come on in. I am feeling too weak to get up and open the door. Well, here's where the story gets very scary. The wolf came barging in so fast, growling with his big, sharp teeth, and he gobbled up the grandmother. Oh my! He quickly put on a nightgown, disguising himself as the grandmother, and he hopped in her bed, waiting for precious Little Red Riding Hood to come in. In the meantime, Little Red Riding Hood was able to pick the most beautiful flowers for her grandma, and she was almost to the house. When she finally arrived to the house, she felt a little afraid. She noticed the front door was open.
Grandma? Grandma?
She walked in the house and into her grandmother's room. The wolf said,
"Oh, my dear, don't turn the light on. I am very sick, and the light gives me a headache. Just bring your cute little self over here and let me give you a hug."
Oh, Grandma, I'm here with cookies and flowers to cheer you up.
Little Red Riding Hood came close to hug her and could just barely see her ears.
Wow! What big ears you have grown, Grandma.
The better to hear you with, my dear.
Even though it was dark, her eyes were just adjusting to the room.
Grandma, what big eyes you have.
The better to see you with, my dear.
Grandma, open up your mouth. I will feed you a cookie. Oh, Grandma, what big teeth you have.
And then, at that time, the wolf sat up and screamed,
"The better to eat you with."
Little Red Riding Hood was so scared. She screamed and cried, "No, no, no!" And she ran out of the house as fast as she could. She ran over to a tent and noticed that there was a forest ranger sitting by a fire. She told him of this dreadful situation, and the forest ranger said, "Let me take a look." So he went into the house and noticed the wolf lying in bed trying to be all sneaky.
"Did you gobble up the Little Red Riding Hood's grandma?"
In a loud voice, he demanded the wolf to spit the grandma out right this instant. The wolf cried,
"Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin."
The forest ranger punched him right smack in the nose and pulled his tail, and the wolf spit the grandma out. Whew! Don't you worry. The grandma wasn't harmed. She was just fine. But did she ever have a story to tell? Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma enjoyed some cookies and milk before she had to walk back home. As she walked home, she thought to herself,
I will never wander off the path that I have been given, ever, ever, ever again.
Thank you for joining me here on Family Roberto. I hope you enjoyed the story of Little Red Riding Hood. And remember, always stay focused on what you are supposed to be doing and never, ever talk to strangers. Until next time, bye friends. Do. 1, 2, 3. Oh, so many gifts. Well, hello there. Ruby here. I am so glad you joined me today in my living room. I am having the best time decorating for Christmas. I bought these adorable Christmas pillows to go on the couch. And looky here. My husband bought me this adorable reindeer snow globe. Oh, I love Christmas. Do you have a favorite Christmas decoration? Ah, that sounds fantastic. I have to say, out of all the Christmas decorations I have, one seems to stick with me year after year. When I was a child, Christmas time always made me smile. My family and me, we'd have fun by the tree, while Mama would tell us stories about what Christmas really means. She would say it's all about the nativity scene. Mary and Joseph and the baby boy were her favorite figurines. I have an idea. Why don't you take a seat and get comfy? I will tell you a Christmas story. And guess what? This story isn't just a story. It really happened. Are you ready, my friends? Let's begin. There was once a young woman named Mary. She was so delightful and kind. She enjoyed helping her family bake bread and doing other chores around the house. Mary was not only kind, but she was beautiful. Do you know what made her beautiful? It wasn't her lovely hair or her beautiful eyes. What made her beautiful was her heart. She loved God so much that He soon would bless her more than you can ever imagine. One day, a very kind man named Joseph got to know Mary. They laughed at each other's jokes, played games together outside, and cared for one another. Eventually, Joseph asked Mary to marry him. Late one night, while Mary was asleep, an angel came to her.
"Mary, don't be afraid,"
said the angel. Mary was a little shocked and wondered why the angel appeared to her. But she wasn't afraid. The angel was so beautiful.
"Soon you will have a baby, and this baby will be the Son of God. He will come to save the world."
Oh boy, I don't know about you, but I wonder what Mary was really thinking. First, an angel, and then to be told she is going to have a baby? Ooh, let's get back to the story. The angel said,
"Your baby boy will be named Jesus. Do not worry about anything, because nothing is impossible with God."
Mary listened to the angel happily and thanked God for this blessing. So, months passed, and Mary and Joseph prepared for their baby boy's arrival. But they had to make a trip to a place called Bethlehem, because the king wanted to know the names of everyone living in his kingdom. It was a long journey. Mary had to ride on a donkey's back, while Joseph led them to Bethlehem. They didn't have much to eat or drink during their travels, but they finally made it, and just in time, because Mary was in labor. That means she was about to have the baby. "Joseph, we can't keep going. We have to find a place to rest. The time has come for me to have our precious baby boy," said Mary. "Oh yes, Mary. I will find us a place to rest," said Joseph. Joseph wanted to find a place where they could be alone and have privacy. But Bethlehem was very busy that night. "Please, someone! My wife needs to rest. She is getting ready to have a baby, and she needs a bed to lie down on," cried Joseph. There was an innkeeper that came outside and heard Joseph pleading for help. The innkeeper showed Joseph a few rooms. In one room, there were soldiers playing games and joking loudly on the floor. In another room, there were people dancing while a man was playing a flute. "None of these rooms will do. We need a place of peace and quiet. Do you have anything else?" asked Joseph worriedly. "There is a cave on the hill where the farmers keep their animals. There is a room there, but you will have to be with all of the animals," said the innkeeper. Joseph agreed. Yes, the cave will work," and he rushed back to help Mary. Joseph lifted Mary off the donkey and laid her on the hard ground inside the cave. It was cold, and the animals were all around her. And on that cold, dark winter's night, baby Jesus was born. That night, there was a sparkling star that shines so bright, high in the sky above the cave, and everyone wondered what it was. There were 3 wise men who had studied the star and knew that where the star was, the new king of the world was to be born. They traveled on their camels with gifts to bring to the Christ child Jesus, as they wanted to worship him from that day forward. On their way to see Jesus, they met an evil king named Herod, who didn't like the idea of a king who was better than himself. He asked the 3 wise men if they knew where Jesus was, but the wise men wouldn't tell him. The wise men left the king, and on that night, Jesus was born. They arrived to welcome the baby boy with gifts meant for a real king. Along with the wise men came shepherds in nearby fields, taking care of the sheep, who also traveled to see the baby. When they all arrived, they were in awe as an army of angels appeared and started flying around the cave as they sang songs praising God. Everyone was so happy. They all worshiped the newborn baby because they knew that he was the Son of God. The 3 wise men gave the new king his gifts, and the star shined down on Mary, Joseph, and the little baby Jesus, and the world now had hope. Woo! What an amazing miracle! A gift for the entire world in the form of a brand new baby boy named Jesus. Now, I love opening gifts at Christmas time. I love to give presents too. But I always come back to this little nativity scene I have here on my table. And I am reminded why we give and receive gifts at Christmas. The 3 wise men brought gifts to celebrate the most special gift of all, the Son of God, the Savior of the world, the best gift you could ever get. A baby boy was born in a manger a long, long time ago, and his name is Jesus. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and when you sleep tonight, thank God for sending you the gift of love, hope, and peace, all wrapped up in a baby blanket so many years ago. Oh, let's listen to a special song while we watch for the nativity scene to come together, shall we?
Sing loud and clear, Christmas time is almost here. Let's sing a song of hope and joy. The time is very near. A baby boy, born in a manger, Lord. Hark the herald angels sing, Jesus Christ the Savior, our newborn King. Hark the herald angels sing. Hark the herald angels sing. Jesus Christ the Savior, our newborn King.
Merry Christmas, friends. Bye for now. Well, hello there. Ruby here. Today, I decided it's time to do some cleaning up in my library. I have so many books that I haven't read in years. Many of them are covered in dust. I have an idea. How about I close my eyes and toss my red velvet cleaning cloth up in the air? Whatever book my cleaning cloth lands on, that's the book we'll read. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Once upon a time, there was a handsome young prince who lived in a beautiful castle. He had everything his heart desired, but many people in the village thought he was a little, spoiled. If the prince wanted new shoes, he got them. If the prince wanted his favorite food, it was delivered on a silver platter. One time, this young man said he wanted every room in the castle to have a mirror in it, so he could look at his glorious self wherever he would go. Now, I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning, the last thing I want to do is look in the mirror. My hair is a mess. On a cold night, there was an old woman who didn't have a home. She roamed the streets at night, looking for food and a warm place to rest. She knocked on the castle door. The prince answered, and she asked,
Oh, Mr. Prince, please show me some kindness and give me a loaf of bread and a warm blanket.
The prince was disgusted by her appearance and told her to leave at once. He didn't want to be bothered with her, so he pointed his finger toward the cold, dark forest. Out! 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 As the poor old woman turned to leave, she gently told the prince,
I may not have money. I may be old and even ugly, but my heart is made of love. Something you don't seem to have.
And just like that, the little old lady put a spell on the prince. She turned the prince into a beast. And she told him if he could learn how to be nice and learn to love from his heart, and also be loved in return, the spell would be broken and he would turn back into a prince. But if he did not change, he would remain a beast forever. Years would pass, and the beast grew older and scarier looking. He started to get depressed, thinking to himself he would never fall in love, and certainly no one would ever fall in love with him.
When will my my true love find me? How long will it be for you to see there's a change in me?
Not too far from the castle, there lived a darling young woman. And can you guess what her name was? You're right! Belle! She was a good friend to all, and her heart was filled with kindness and love. She also enjoyed reading books and skipping and singing. Her father was kind as well, but he was a little funny at times. His hair stood straight up in the air, and he was a bit confused. But that didn't bother Belle. She adored her father. Well, as time went on, people started to talk and whisper about Belle and her dad. You could hear them whispering, "Belle always has her nose in those books. She's always singing and skipping through the village. That father of Belle's is as crazy as a bedbug." Have you ever seen a bedbug? I haven't either, nor do I want to. Oh, let's get back to the story. One cold, dark night, Belle's father, Maurice, was traveling down the lane to visit the local fair to show off his latest science gadget that he invented. He got spooked by some howling of wolves, and he turned down the wrong road, which led him to the castle. The following morning, Belle wondered where her father was, as he always joined her for breakfast. One of the local shoemakers told her that he was seen going down the path the night before, headed right for the castle. This worried Belle, and she right away ran off to find her father. She came up to the castle and didn't even knock. She burst through the door and demanded to see her father, as she sensed he was there. Mrs. Potts and her friends led her down to the dungeon, where poor Maurice was found. But guess what? The beast let out a blood-curdling roar that shook the walls of the castle. This creature terrified Belle, but she was brave. "Please, frightful beast, free my father. He has done nothing wrong."
No!
Screamed the beast. "My father is not well. He is old, and he needs to go home where he'll be warm and safe. If you must, take me in exchange for my father." The beast agreed, and Maurice was freed, but Belle was taken to a room in the castle.
"The castle is now your home," he said gruffly. "You will join me for dinner," the beast ordered her. "I am not asking you. I am telling you."
How long must I stay here? When will I be free? But something is telling me there may be something here for me.
Belle didn't take well to his orders. "You will be nice, or I will not join you for dinner. You will respect me, or I won't show you any respect." Days passed, and actually, the beast got a little nicer, as he knew he couldn't boss Belle around. And his heart fluttered every time he set his eyes on Belle. Her smile, her beautiful eyes, the way she would sing. Now, I don't know about you, but I think maybe the beast was falling in love with Belle. One afternoon, Belle and the beast were outside having a cup of tea and laughing, and Belle was teaching the beast how to skip. Meanwhile, a nasty wolf approached the beast and growled at him, and the two fought back and forth, Oh, it was a frightful sight. The wolf actually scratched him so badly that Belle bandaged him up and got him all better.
I want to thank you for helping me and bandaging up my hand,
said the beast, and the two gazed into each other's eyes. They both felt something for each other. Could it be that they are falling in love? From that day on, the beast tried to be a proper host. He showed Belle his library, and she began to teach him how to act like a gentleman. Now remember, we already know that the beast loves Belle. All we need now is for Belle to fall in love with the beast. One night, while she was teaching him to dance, the beast asked,
Belle, are you happy here with me?
Yes, I am. I love you. And with that, the two kissed as they danced. The beast truly had changed. His heart was tender and kind. He even invited Belle's father to live with them in the castle. At that very moment, the spell was broken. In one magical instant, the beast turned back into a prince, and the two lived happily ever after. Woo! Now, I don't believe people can cast spells. That's just a story. But I do know this. Always try to have love in your heart. Be kind to those in need, and never judge a book by its cover. That means you can't know what someone is like just by looking at them. You have to know their heart. Do you have a good, kind heart? Yes, you do. Take care, my dear friend. I will see you next time.